Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can turn your customers into raving fans. This is one of those things that, if I had to say was going to make one of the biggest differences in your company, I would have to say this is it. Because there is nothing better than having customers, clients that love you. Like, not just kind of like you, but love you. You will exceed expectations with these tips. And when you exceed expectations, you will not see the economic downturns that average or may businesses will achieve. Like, that's because not everybody does this. All right. So we're going to break it down for you. If you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you and others and businesses be awesome. Sorry, my brain in my mouth. Wow. Anyway, I help people thrive. Okay. And so that's what this is about. I want your business to thrive, not just survive. I want you to get out of the survival mindset that a lot of entrepreneurs have, where they're working 12 to 15 to 80 hours a week, like crazy. I was going to say per day, but then I was like 80, 90 hours a week. You need to get away from that. If you're working that hard and you're not making progress, there seems to be this weird badge of honor of working absurd amounts of hours and then being like, oh, I'm cool because I worked that many hours. No, you shouldn't be doing that. You should not be doing that. So we're going to break it down for you. Just so you know, I go live Monday through Friday, except for holidays and when I need a day off occasionally. So please join me. If you have questions, comments, please leave them below. I would love to get to know you and help you with your business. So let's get started, shall we? All right. So, first and foremost, you're going to want to know your company values. I know I've harped on this several times for different reasons, for your vivid vision, for your quarterly planning, for your boulders, all of these things. But if you don't know what you value as a company, how can you create a situation where your customers or clients know that same, right? Like, if you're not sure, how can you expect them to be sure? One of my former law professors used to say, if it goes without saying, it usually goes better with. You have to communicate to your customers, your clients, what it is, why you're here. Why are you in business? If you haven't answered that fundamental question, you need to. You need to do that before you do anything else, before you hire, before you get more clients, before you get more customers, whatever it may be. You need to ask why you're in business. And you need to have that as part of not just why, but the discussion that you have with your clients, right? Or your customers. You're going to want to make sure that they understand that you're you for a reason. Like, something caused you to decide to come into doing this in the world. What was that? Because I guarantee you that they will relate more to you if they know your story. If you don't have your story somewhere where you can point it to them, where they can find it on their own, because maybe they don't ask and maybe it's not a topic of conversation that needs to be talked about. But if it's not somewhere where you discuss how you came to be and how you started the business, you need to be. People relate to stories more than they relate to information. Most people, and saying this as an attorney, most people don't care where I went to law school at. They care that I'm an attorney, and they care that I can solve the problem that they have. That's it. Like, not everybody went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Penn State, whatever, wherever, okay? You don't have to be for people to like you and be successful. You don't have to have a 4-year degree unless you have to have a 4-year degree. But my point is for most businesses, you don't have to have that. People care about your story. Why are you more passionate about this thing than someone else. Okay? So knowing your company values, that's why it's so important to know your why. The next thing is target the right audience. This one is funny. If you're targeting broke people, and I'm not judging broke people, not people are broke, I get it, okay? But if you're targeting people that can't afford to pay for your services, then you too will not be able to do your services. But I don't want to, people will be like, well, I don't want to shut anybody off because what if they have money in the future? Yes, I'm not suggesting that you shut people off. I'm not saying you turn down or don't help people. I'm saying where you're targeting. So what type of information are you giving to others? If you're focused on people that can't pay or that you have no way of getting paid, then you're not going to be in business very long because you're going to be spending a lot of money to get people that can't actually afford to pay you. Now, I'm not suggesting you do anything untoward. I'm simply saying target the right audience. Who are your ideal clients and customers? People that have this type of money or this type of situation. My parents were carpet cleaners. Okay. The best money was houses, right? Like that's who you target. You target houses because that's where the money's at. You target houses that have dogs and cats because that's where the money's at, right? Like you target large houses with large dogs or puppies, something that's going to make a mess, right? Like, and I'm not trying to be like capitalize on other people's pain, but you're solving a problem and you can get paid very well to do that. So when you target the right audience, then you can create ways of giving back to the people that are poor. In other words, you can afford to give away free when your needs are met, right? Like if your business is doing awesome, then you could say, you know what, someone's struggling, someone that doesn't normally have money, then you can afford to help them, right? But if all you ever target are the poor people or the people that are broke all the time, then you're never going to have enough money to be able to actually help them because things cost money, right? Like supplies and just everything is costs money. So if you don't have enough revenue coming in, you can't help those people because you'll be out of business. So this mindset of you have to help everybody is wrong. You need to help the people that you want to help. That is the right audience for your business, okay? Now, the next thing is you really have got to get to know your clients. You need to be inside their heads as much as humanly possible, right? You need to not just see them as a number or see them as a step to get to the next level. You need to see them as human beings that have problems that you're there to solve. So empathy, that is where you're going to win at. Every company that is successful, if you look at their core product, it shows empathy because they understand the problem and they're looking to solve that problem because they understand it, because they know their clients. If you don't know your clients, then you can't turn them into raving fans, right? Because all they're going to do is be meh. They're not going to be excited about working with you. They'll be okay. They'll pay their bills, but we're not talking about just paying their bills. We want them to be excited to pay their bills. We want them to buy from you continually, repeatedly, because you create such an amazing experience for them because you understand them. When you understand your customers, you will be infinitely more successful. Someone once said the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is extra. Think about that for a second. Are you delivering extra to your clients? Or are you just meh? I don't know. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not saying there aren't going to be moments in your entrepreneurial life where you're not like, you just feel meh and that's all you can do. But that's one reason why you need to create systems and procedures so that even when you feel meh, that things still get done and your customers and clients are wowed, right? Because those systems and procedures can make up the difference, take out the human part of it, where you don't want to get up out of bed in the morning, but you know you have to. And some days that's how it's going to be. But the point is by you having systems and procedures and understanding, then you're going to create a situation where they don't notice that you were for a day, right? Or two, whatever it is. Okay. But if you don't get to know them, how are you going to help them the best? Something that's important, especially in today's world, you need to give advice rather than information. You can Google just about anything, but the strongest relationships come from when you build this respect with each other, right? Where they trust you enough to accept your advice. Now, that's usually service-based businesses. If you're providing products, right? Be honest and upfront about a product that may or may not work for them. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But sometimes the best people that I've ever encountered were the people that referred me to not take them up on their offer because they chose me over profit. Okay? Like when I wanted something and they're like, well, this would fit better for your needs. And they were being honest, right? They weren't just trying to sell me the next best, greatest, latest thing. They were being honest with me about my needs and what they could offer me. So you want to give that advice. You want to share more than just information. Like, what would you do in a certain situation? Because when you personalize it, they feel it. They help you. They see the better relationship with you. And that's what they're looking for. If you're looking for the exact same thing as what other people have, you're looking in the wrong place. You want people to relate to you and your business more or better than they relate to another business. Coca-Cola and Pepsi do not taste the same. People relate to those businesses different than each other. To each other. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be Coke or you want to be Pepsi? And I'm not judging. You can be whatever you want to be. But I'm simply saying you need to make that decision. How do you want to relate to people? Coca-Cola is classic. Remember, we used to have classic Coke and new Coke. New Coke failed miserably because it tasted bad and people didn't relate to it. People buy Coca-Cola because they like the classic taste of Coke. Pepsi, on the other hand, typically appeals to the more modern people from a cola perspective. That's how they've marketed. Look at their logo. Look at their design. It's a modern-looking logo and design. Coca-Cola has Santa Claus, right? It has the polar bear. The logo is a very classic with the lines and the script and the font and the color is a very classic looking design, right? You look at those two things and then think, what type of relationship do you want to have with your clients? And so that's part of this. Do you want that modern look or do you want that classic look? Now, I know that's branding, but this is why it's important that you accept advice, that you're giving advice rather than information, because otherwise, if you Google something, you don't want to be Google. Don't try to be Google. There's no reason to be Google. There's nothing wrong with Google, but I'm saying as a business, you don't want to be Google unless you're Google. Okay, moving on. Move your customers to a better place. If they aren't better because of what you do, what are you doing? Straight up. Now, some are going to be, no two races are the same. Some are going to be much better, and maybe some are only going to be a little bit better. And you can't necessarily say that one was a success and one was a failure just because you moved them a little, because you don't know what the delta would have been without you. But make sure that that's baked into your relationship. If you're selfish about take, never giving back and never actually helping people, you've missed the mark of your business. If you're not solving problems and moving someone forward in a better direction, for my parents, if your carpet isn't clean after you leave, if there's still spots and stains and it smells like puppy or kitty or whatever, then you've failed as that, right? But if you leave and it's It smells amazing. It feels amazing. It's everything that the person wanted. They can confidently have guests over and they're not worried about the smell and they're not worried about the stains. Then you've moved them forward, right? And that's what your product should do. That's why it's so important that your product or service should solve a problem. Here's one of the things that I've seen quite frequently that most people ignore about solving problems. They don't tell them how they're solving it. The old saying of no one wants to see how the sausage is made is partially not true. People want to feel included in the process. If I don't communicate with people about where they're at in a legal matter, they get frustrated with me. On this channel, you'll find that I have one very popular video. I wish I could get more as the same, but anyway, that talks about 7 signs you've hired a bad attorney and what you can do about it. Lots of comments, lots of information. Check it out. The point is, most of everyone that complains is that their attorney doesn't communicate. They don't talk with their clients. They take this client on, and then the client never hears from them. Well, we deal with very stressful situations, whether it's buying a business, starting a business, suing someone, litigation, all sorts of different things that your client or your customer wants to understand where they're at, when things are happening. So bake into your process that communication. When something's ordered, if it's a manufacturing thing, when something's ordered, where is it at in the process, right? When is it going to be shipped? If it's shipped, when is it expected to get there? If it's expected to get there, maybe there's an issue with the shipping. Don't know. I'm simply saying these are the things that you need to consider. You need to factor into your decision making so that when you're addressing these concerns and you're moving your customers to that better place, that you're doing it with intent. Okay? Next, reward your best customers. People love rewards. For instance, you go to a sandwich shop and they give you a little punch card about yay big, and you can put little stamps on it, and you can reward them for their continued business by giving them a free sub. Now, you need to pick what's right for your business on how to reward people. There's lots of different options out there. There's a great book called Giftology. Highly recommend that. The idea being that you want people to not just feel like another number. And by rewarding your best customers, remember, people that have bought from you, simple thank you note. In today's crazy world, I'm not talking thank you email. Okay, do not misunderstand these. A thank you note can go a long way. I sent a thank you note, I don't know, probably 2 months ago to one of my best clients. She refers me business. I help her frequently on things. And it reminded her that she needed something, and I was able to give it to her, and because I'd sent her that thank you card, right? Like that doesn't happen every time, but the amount of time that it takes versus the benefit that you get out of it, just feeling like a customer that the company cares about, can help you move into that raving fan category, okay? So you've got to think in terms of what will make people be happy about you. Here's something that drives me nuts, okay? And I'll say this because I think it's important. When you send someone a gift, like I get swag from my vendors, I get, that type of thing. Don't send, like if you're going to send swag, fine. I'm not saying you can't send swag. But if you're sending an actual gift to your clients, don't send swag as a gift. Send something that's important to them or that is used by them, that has their name on it, their logo on it, something that they will cherish. They will always think about you. You don't need to put your logo on it for them to think about you. Like I send out to clients sometimes Yeti mugs with the client's name on it, not mine, because it's more important to them. They're going to hold on to that mug rather than it kind of go in the trash, right? Because it's important to them. Everybody loves to have their name on it, their logo on it, something of that nature. Put their information on the gift. If you want to send them a swag too, t-shirts and keychains and whatever you want to pick, right? I'm not telling you not to. That's fine, but that's not what's going to help you move the needle. A real gift is going to help you move the needle the best. And that means something that could be unique to them. I'm toying around with the idea of like champagne flutes for starting a business, as monogrammed, as a way to celebrate they've started a business, stuff like that. I haven't nailed down what's perfect. The Yeti mugs are okay. I want something that's used on a regular basis, that type of thing. Okay, so rewarding your best customers. That's next. That's that one. Here's one thing. How often do you send out surveys? I need to get better at this. I'll be honest. This is something that I struggle with. I don't get a very high response rate. I don't care for that. I send out a survey and I get nothing back, or like one question answered or one survey completed. And I get everyone's busy and they get tons of emails and they get tons of solicitations. But the best way to get people to care about your business is caring about their needs. When you show them you're caring about their needs by asking them, nobody's a mind reader. Nobody expects you to instantly know what they're thinking, right? Like legitimately. But if you never ask, remember what I said earlier? If it goes without saying, it usually goes better with saying. Well, that's one of those things. Ask your customers what is important to them. There was a new edition of iOS that was just released not too long ago. Monday. So today's Wednesday. Okay. And one feature that's on there that you would think should have been on there years ago was the ability to unsend and or edit a text message. But it wasn't. You just had to suck it up and it had a typo. I don't know how important that was. I don't know if Apple actually asked or if they just finally decided to stick it in. I don't know. Point is, though, I bet you if they would have asked, they would have gotten an answer to that question a long time ago. I'm just guessing here. Now, that being said, remember the iPhone was a solution to a problem we didn't know we had. The iPhone had... we had BlackBerries. We had phones at the time, but all of them lacked the same capabilities because they were hardware-based and not software-based. The iPhone came along and it redid things. Now, if you'd have asked at the time what people wanted, they would have said they wanted a better keyboard, right? So when you're innovating things, sometimes you don't ask about that, right? Because people will say, oh, we just want a better keyboard, right? But so there's sometimes when you don't ask. But once you get into the mix of things and talking and deciding, and then it's important to ask your clients, customers, what they want. What works for them. Another thing that can help create raving fans, and this is one of my favorites, something that will go huge. I cannot emphasize this enough. This one is huge. This one will make big difference. I have to say this, is run your business in an open and transparent way. Yeah. The more open, more transparent, the better. Businesses, unfortunately, have gotten a bad rap for making bad choices. And they have, rightfully, justifiably so. This is not an argument in that thing. Because they haven't been open and transparent. Ford, with their Ford Explorer and their Ford Pinto, so, and again, Apple's made their fair of missteps. IBM, Microsoft, all of these. Why? Because they weren't open and transparent with their customers. They weren't fair to their customers. They got sued because of the things that they weren't fair about, right? The mortgage industry, everywhere. If you look at the number one reason why businesses struggled with the law is because they weren't open and transparent with their customers and with society as a whole. They thought they had to hide, and they thought that would get them farther ahead. But the reality is that's not accurate. You want to have raving fans, you want to have raving clients that'll talk about you, give them a reason to talk about you by being open and transparent. Okay. Next, You're going to want to create a structure that allows you to consistently meet client needs. As I was talking about earlier, you need systems and processes in place to take away the human element. If you fall down and break your leg, what happens? Well, you're out for a while. And if you're the sole provider, like my father was the carpet cleaner, if he broke his leg, that was it. If he got sick, he had to cancel appointments and lose money. Find a way so that you can take the human element out of it where there doesn't need to be a human element. Okay? Keep the human element in when there needs to be a human element, right? Like you can tell the difference. Sending a responsive email that's a non-personalized email doesn't have the same need as the individual email that I'm going to write to somebody. Okay? So keep that in mind, that by creating this structure, this business structure, your success will not be dependent upon the human. And if you, as a human, need to take a day off, which is why I was saying that's bump about having, working 80-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks, that just means things are too dependent upon you. Create systems and procedures and things that aren't dependent upon you so that you can find the success that you're looking for, and will give you consistency. Will give your customers consistency. They crave consistency. People like consistency. People like rules, generally speaking. Not everybody. I'm just talking like in generalities. And here's one that's not talked about. This is last, but certainly not least. Give back. There is nothing better than finding a way for you as a company to support charities and other types of entities that are trying to improve life for people. If you give back in multiple ways, and I'm not talking like you have to give everything, but sponsoring a little league team, sponsoring a soccer team, sponsoring whatever. And here's the thing, leave your logo off the shirt. Okay? I know you're like, what? Why would I do that? I'm paying for it. Because here's the thing. If your logo's on the shirt, you're getting the advertising. You're getting the payment. If your logo's not on the shirt, not on the uniform, you're getting word of mouth, which is way better. Because people, the soccer team, the people will talk. They'll say, oh my gosh, so-and-so, this law firm or whoever, right? This company is sponsoring my team. This is how I didn't have to pay for uniforms. And for some kids, that can make all the difference between them being successful in soccer or Little League or Pop Warner or whatever it is that they want to do. And that can have real lasting impact on their life. So leave your logo off of it. Let the credit be quiet, right? There are times when you take an advertisement out in the newspaper where you talk about it, not the giving, but you say, here's what we do. We're good. We're trying to help. Okay. But there are times when you leave your name out of it and you let it just speak for itself. Let the action speak for itself. You don't have to add anything to it. You're going to find that you're going to be more successful that way, because people are going to relate to that better than if you plaster your name and logo everywhere, right? Because creating these, while you're giving back, you're creating these relationships with these people rather than a transaction. And you're going to create, as you create these relationships, you're going to do much better than the people that are just focused on the transaction. Okay. Wow. Woo. That was a lot. Thank you for sticking with me. That I honestly, if you implement these techniques, you're going to turn people into not only raving clients, fans, but you're going to find that you're happier, because people that like you and trust you and all of these things are going to buy from you, and they're going to be much happier than the people that don't. Okay? Don't forget to be you, to be unique. You don't have to be like everybody else to be successful. You need to be you. The more you're you, the more successful you are. Gloria Petrucci, who is livestreamingpros.com, she teaches Uniquely You about how showing up on camera, being yourself, has significantly more value than showing up and being a drone, right? Remember when I said earlier about taking, rather than sharing information, you're sharing advice? Information is Google, advice is part of you. Things that you've seen, things that have happened that have made a difference. That's why giving advice is so much more important, because it's part of you. Again, thank you so much for showing up. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that bell icon. We'll talk to you later. Have a great one.